Why don't we call the meeting to order at 7:07. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So let's take attendance.
Mrs. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Hirakawa?
Yes.
Mr. Lanacey?
Hello.
Mrs. Mack? Mr. Strang?
Here.
Okay, 1.2, review of the agenda, additions to the agenda. Would you like to go over the agenda?
Absolutely. Good evening and welcome to our December Board of Education meeting. Thank you all for being in attendance, especially our students. Tonight's agenda features some consent items, actually a discussion later in the meeting about what's going on the district level, also the building level. But actually we'll be starting with two presentations, one from our technology area, which will actually feature our students, and also an update from our special education coordinator.
So it's want us to start? Is that
Not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Sorry, guys. I'm too excited to showcase these kids.
You're way too anxious.
1.3, approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Need somebody to make a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions, discussion, changes? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? 1.4, acceptance of financial reports. We have one this month, the monthly treasurer's report with budget transfers.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? 1.5, visitors and communication. A, communications to the Board of Education. We received a couple things over the past month. The first one is a letter in regards to the New York State teachers retirement system. They're calling for nominations. This letter was an email sent to me wanting to know if anybody is interested in serving on the teachers retirement system board. I forwarded it on to Sharon and I asked her to send it to the rest of the board. I don't know if anybody's interested or not. One of the qualifications is not being a New York State employee, and I am one, so I'm not qualified.
And I'm a New York State retiree, so I'm sure I can't be part of it.
I don't know if anybody else is interested.
I think that's so you got to have a background in finance, and banking, and insurance.
Yeah, I think they're looking for professional.
Not in this life.
Next one.
I just wanted to pass it out to everybody, so everybody had an opportunity to decline if that's what they wished. The other correspondence we received was from the North Greenbush, the American Legion, post 1489. This is a real nice letter. Dear Dr. Reardon, Dr. Yotis, faculty, staff, and students, thank you all for honoring our veterans at the Gardner Dickinson School this year. The veterans were so impressed with the sense of pride and patriotism the school displayed, from the beautiful artwork in the hallways and the songs sung by the children, to the video and creative, heartfelt speeches read aloud, thanking each of us for our service. We would like to thank Lori Bawdy and her staff for the delicious buffet brunch and the opportunity for our veterans to enjoy this special time with our families and friends. The ceremony was very moving and honored all branches of our military. On behalf of the North Greenbush American Legion Post 1489, we thank you for the tremendous outpouring of support and appreciation. It was a day that made us all proud to have served our country. And it's signed by Joseph Renahan, Commander, and William Keegan, Vice Commander. So it was a very nice letter. I'm sure everybody on the board saw that. 1.5B, opportunity for the public to be heard. Do you have any signed up? No? Okay. 2.0, reports to the Board of Education. Board of Education reports and updates. We're going to start with Ms. Kimberly Herzl-Bess, CPSE coordinator. Do you want to give us some background, Dr. Reardon?
Sure. Actually, if you don't mind, I think we're going to just switch those around, actually.
Sure, we
have
can
students
absolutely do that.
That'd be great.
Sure. So we'll start with Mr. Matthew Lutz, the technology coordinator.
And sorry, Sorry about second false start, my fault. So actually, just a little preview to the board. As you know, one of our board focuses has been to kind of have some reports out on our different areas of curriculum, particularly in the coordinator role. So actually, Mr. Lutz was invited to speak on technology, and what evolved was a chance to kind of showcase not just what's going on in the world of technology, but actually our new course offering for our 8th graders, help desk. So Mr. Lutz, thank you for bringing your students. Students, thank you for coming out.
Thank you. So, I've been asking for about the past 3 years if we can incorporate a help desk, and Tom and Mary have been listening, and they actually gave me the opportunity this year. I'm so delighted that we were able to actually pilot this program. These kids are magnificent. I'm so proud of what they've done just in these past 4 months. The help desk team, it's a hands-on kind of, they integrate technology with some kind of, with the educational context. They go around and we actually get work tickets, just like the IT Questar team does, or our IT staff, and we work out those tickets, and we work together to solve them. So I'm just going to let them go. They made this slideshow. So if you guys want to talk about what you guys are doing.
So we are the junior help desk team. I'm Matthew, I'm Bailey, Joe, Anthony. So
we learned a lot of different things, like putting keys back on the computers and taking computers apart. We learned how to fix headphone problems, and we realized how hard computers is and how it's time consuming. The class gave us confidence to talk with adults and professionals on the topics. We enjoy working with younger kids, but some of them are, let's say, impatient.
we do all sorts of work in this class, but we mainly focus on technology. We organize computers in their slots and make sure they are charging. We test a lot of headphones to see if they work and if they aren't broken. We all have assigned classrooms to check and see if any computers are broken or need to be repaired. If any of the children's keyboards are broken, we can repair them and give them replacement for the keys. We wipe down the computers and organize for those working on them. We update the computer software and operating systems.
This class could benefit from having some new equipment. Often computers break down or lag. For example, we could use toolkits to help us work with computer-based issues. With internet connections, there are hundreds of kids using one router at the same time. So maybe we could have multiple computers throughout the building. We think this class should be 5 days a week because if we start one project, one class, and we can't finish it, then it will just take a lot longer until the teachers get the computers or devices to him or her needs. We would not change the time that is offered, as we think at 2 o'clock it is easier for us to work on teacher computers, as many elementary students are getting ready to go home and middle school kids are in tutorial.
So what I would like to do right now is we have a Twitter account, and Bailey, all of them actually all contribute to the Twitter account, and I think it just gives you a great opportunity to see what we've been doing. So we're going to flip over to their Twitter account, and this is the first week. Our first one is introducing the team. So if you guys want, I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to stop at certain ones. We mentioned that a lot of my role is working with software companies, reaching out to the representatives. And one of the program reps was JMOS for Myon. It's a reading program software at school, and they incorporated a new Myon news piece, so we had to teach the teachers. They came along, they sat and they listened, and guys, tell me what you guys from Jack.
So what we did pretty much was we learned what the Myon software and stuff that the teachers use instead of the kids. So it's pretty much just more like kind of, I don't know, like harder than like what the kids use and stuff. And so we met this professional, his name is Jay Moss, and he just taught us how to do it and go through all this stuff.
And Anthony, what did you say? What did you love about him? He gave you?
Oh, he gave us little squishy pencils.
He gave us squishy pencils as a gift. This was probably the first major problem we had. And Anthony, if you want to talk to, you worked it out with Miss Mahoney. The one first that, boggled a lot of teachers' minds. We couldn't figure out what the problem was. Anthony, within, I think, 20 minutes, figured it out. And I asked to, capture a video. So if you want to share it, what is going on here? And Miss Mahoney's Anthony.
So the computers, the volume wasn't working, but we plugged in the headphones and we turned up the volume, and it was muted previously. So the computer, when it's plugged into the headphones, has a different volume than when it has no headphones plugged in. So all I had to do was turn it up both times, and it was.
Yeah. So the volume settings for just hitting the volume setting on the computer is different than the microphone setting. And we were able to figure that out. Anthony figured it out. Great job, bud. All right. Here's a headphone organizer. And the only reason I would talk about this one is just last week, more teachers asked for more headphone organizers. And Bailey went around and tell us what you did. What did you?
Mrs. Ryan needed new headphone slots, like as it is here. But the only ones we had were the ones that teacher would use for phones in the classroom, but they weren't big enough for the actual headphones, and she had too many. So I had to go online and find new ones at a good, reasonable price for teachers to have.
There's those clean iPads. Look at that. Now these ones, there's our IT. The only way this could be successful is if our IT team took them on. And Anthony and Andrew have been remarkable. This is Anthony coming in here, if you recall. Oh, he's showing us he actually allowed us to be on the access end of the ticket. So when the teacher submits a ticket, we get to see them, and then we're able to, fulfill or complete the ones that we can handle. Does anyone, up here is Andrew, I think, this is Andrew. Actually, well, in a second you'll see Andrew, but Andrew, I'll let you guys talk about that. Do you guys know this is Keller. This is the one I thought was out. Like, I love when they work with the younger kids, And but can you tell me here, guys, what are you doing here? What are you teaching the younger kids?
All right, so here we're teaching like the kids how to log on to Myon and how to get into like books and stuff, and if they still have to take the test on it to see like what like level grade they are and stuff for reading. So we just help them log on and do all that sort of stuff.
This is Ethan. He's fixing. Mrs. Sinkins broke the printer, and Ethan was able to fix it. He had to actually take it apart, put it back together. This is Andrew. This is the other Questar IT tech that we have. Again, he's showing you. I think you guys remember he's showing
us how to clean it and
replace the power supply. So Andrew came in, and he had a computer that had a faulty power supply, and they swapped it out. So again, like I said, these guys are amazing to work with us. And this one again is Andrew helping us out. Who wants to tell what we're doing for Mrs. Hancock? Jody. Oh, remember this was a Google. She had problems with her website, and it was just a hot mess. Remember? You guys,
So this was when we were helping Miss Hancock with her Google slot, her Google sites. So she was trying to figure out how to move stuff around and get them right ordered. So we just helped her out.
and then the one thing that she did ask, which you guys remember what she asked about the keyboards and.
So she wants us to find this program of how she can type in like Spanish, so get the accents over the letters and upside down question marks and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're gonna look to help her find that. Good job, guys. Who's on the screen there? Do you guys remember why Owen came in?
I was helping fix his laptop.
Yeah, he had a broken laptop, brought it in, and we got it up and running for him. So, let's see here. Oh, this is my favorite. Come on, baby sharks. Come on. What were we doing here? Who wants to tell the class what we were doing?
So Miss Cronin had a problem with her laptops where they would die randomly, and they would say that they were at a full charge even though they weren't. So we had to do a battery test on them, and we timed how long it would take them to die. And so what we did, we just had a replay of Baby Shark on all the laptops and listen, they were going to die.
So we just ran the same YouTube video on a loop till it died. Because what we found out was that some of them would say that there's 70% battery life, but what would happen? It would just shut off. And so we were figuring out the battery was not accurate with its battery level. So Baby Shark, I remember that was the best. And here's Mrs. Swart. I don't know, what are we doing for Mrs. Swart there?
She wanted us to update.
Oh, that's one of the bigger pieces. So coming up with NWEA state testing, these guys are going to be a remarkable help for us. We're going to go around and make sure the state has certain specs that each computer has to be up to snuff, like their operating system has to be at a certain like Chrome, and then their processor and things like that. So we're going to go around and make sure that every computer in the district is ready for NWEA and for state testing, so we don't have any unexpected kind of problems. And she gave us Smarties. She did. And then last is Ethan with the, but again, you guys are all on this, and that's what I loved, how we had this problem, and again, I don't know, laptops will come in and they're missing keys. I don't know how it is, but, as a team, what did we do? How did we fix that? What were some of the things that we did to figure out how to get the keys back on?
So what we would do is like look up videos and stuff on how to take like keys off of the certain laptops. So what you would have to do is like get something under it and plop the key off, and then there's all this stuff that you have to take out and then replace it back onto the new keyboard, and then you'd have to like slide the key like in a certain way back onto the computer. So like the sensor thing could like read it.
Yeah, and there was probably a good 10, like it started out with just one teacher just saying, hey, can you please try to find a way to fix this keyboard? And we went into the IT room and they had like a stack of 10 or 15 of them. So they have, our own IT just wasn't able to get to it. They've been so busy. So this was something that they found out. They worked together. We had we had one toolkit, but we shared it. And they did a remarkable job at getting these laptops up to par with getting the funds on. So I thought that was one of the, I think, the biggest challenges you've had so far, because the IT team even said, guys, good luck. I think these are, these are not going to be fixable, and you guys were able to fix that, especially this one. So but that was the last class, and then up here's just us preparing for our presentation today. Like I said, what these kids have grown just over this time is outstanding. I'm so proud of these kids. I'm just proud. I'm hands down, these guys are remarkable. So, do you guys have any questions? Anything?
Do you make house calls? Just saying, I could always use a little help. Now, how do you guys fit it into the day? Do you do it on just during one period of the day, or do you do it as needed, or how does that work for you guys?
It's a casual period every other day.
A lot
It
of
was
the
being
time,
replaced with digital was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
a lot of the times, usually like if we know like just one of us can fix it, we all have like our own separate problems, and then we do that and try and work on multiple problems in one class.
Explain that. Because they all have something that, again, we've been so busy that we really haven't had it, but we have a plan in case we don't have any tickets. What are they going to work on? And Bailey's photography. Ethan is Scratch. He wants his big goal this year. Would like to teach younger grades, like first, second grade, how to program. But what was you guys had? Oh, the Scratch. That's right. You guys wanted the Google Suites and the Google software, right? So they all have something ready to go in case we don't. But guys, we've been so busy. They every class you start out by doing what? We go in and they each have a teacher.
Yeah, we have all assigned classes where we go in and check if their computers are charging, and we clean them sometimes. And if they all have if the teacher has a problem, then we'll take it back to Mr. Lutz's room and then figure out what we can do to fix it, and then bring it back to the teacher.
And Mrs. Butcher, you're one of them. So how have they been doing?
Matt checks in every other day.
And you know what I love about it is I asked them, I asked, just guys, when you go in, just sort of go quiet as a mouse, just go over, check, don't disrupt them. And they do, I asked the other teachers, and they love it. They absolutely love having them in the classroom. Just the idea that they have the IT right there, if they have a problem, they can hand it off. But that was the one thing I was worried about, is that would they be a disruption to the class that the teacher is instructing? And they said no. They just come right in, do their thing, and come right out. So Miss Mahoney is crazed about it. She's like the first to sign up. I don't know, a lot of these teachers would take the offering. I sent out an email like, hey guys, if you want us to come in, we'll come in every day or every other day. And every so often they're like, oh wait, can I have them come in? I'm like, yeah. So there's only about 8 teachers that right now take up the offer, but it keeps us busy. So but again, you guys are remarkable. Anything else, you guys?
I think it's great. They're learning, a lot of life lessons with problem solving and working in a team, and how to shift your priorities based on what's coming in. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Good job.
Thank you guys for coming out.
automatic positions for your IT department?
It's a great on-the-spot interview. It's good. Folks, thank you for coming out too, truly. And if I may throw in there too, what's been nice is that besides this being an opportunity, so let's thank you for offering that too. I know it's a new option as well, but also it's again been part of our expanding our master schedule. So it's not just a straight, either you're in this class or this class, but there's really about 3 or 4 classes running at any given time, and it's allowed that for a small school to kind of maximize their pieces. So thank you for your support. Help desk, thank you. And if I may throw in there too, is before we pass over to Ms. Herzl, what's nice is that we, as you know, we have our Questar IT staff, but it's allowed them actually because we do take in a ton of new machines, and it allows them sometimes a bigger picture piece. So they're not spending, an hour by an IT person spent putting a key on a keyboard or sorting out headphones is an hour less they're not, working on our network or working on a big picture problem. So it's kind of helped all around. So thank you, Mr. Lutz. Thank you again.
Oh, anytime.
Ms. Roselbetz is also here to join us. Kind of give us a little update of the state of special ed.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I apologize for November. The weather kind of threw us off there. And I also apologize, no cute children, sorry. So just kind of a general update, in addition to, your monthly reports that you review from us. And thank you so much for, considering the approval of those minutes. I appreciate it. Just wanted to give you some behind the scenes of what's been going on in the special ed world. This year, coming in from last year, we've been working a lot on professional development with the special ed teachers. We went more outside last year to trainings on different things like IEP development and progress monitoring the goals that we write for our IEPs. And this year, we're continuing to build upon those pieces. We don't want to focus on too many things at once because that can be overwhelming. Speaking of overwhelming, one of the things this year that's our theme, Dr. Reardon's theme for the year is mindfulness, and in order to prevent some of that overwhelmed feeling, I'm really, starting from the beginning in September, I wanted our special ed teachers to think about, and therapists, the whole department, to think about themselves and being a little bit more mindful. We do things like guided meditations. I won't bore you with that tonight. It'll be like a quick 5-minute, you can Google them, it's great. Just to reset your body, your mind, and I do that sometimes with kids as well, but just to make the adults more aware of their own self, because we're not always in touch with ourselves and reflecting on our own state of wellness. So just kind of being mindful of those pieces and just reminding them, what are the things in your life that you really enjoy that give you pleasure that maybe you're ignoring, or maybe you don't stop for 5 seconds to think about because we're so ingrained in the daily grind. So just kind of reminding and just checking in with ourselves to make sure that we're well enough to put all the work in that we do with our kids every day, because it can be a little overwhelming at times. So we're continuing to work on, measuring those annual goals that we write. This year we're collecting data and graphing each of those goals so that the families have a graphic representation of how their child is progressing, which I think is helpful to have a visual. We're already starting to plan for annual review, which starts January through pretty much the end of the year, but January through March, and then April is when most of our meetings will occur, and then the end of the year we're kind of finalizing everything to get out to families. Let's see, we have a new secretary this year, Brenda Alderman. She's been amazing. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that. She's so positive, so hardworking, so willing to do whatever I ask and even go above and beyond with pretty much anything. So she's been a great addition. We have upcoming our card consultation project. So Center for Autism and Related Disabilities at SUNY Albany is kind of partnering and consulting with us starting in January. And Dr. Yotis and I, and we've created a committee that will be a part of this training. So we have a couple psychologists from SUNY Albany coming, and they're going to meet with us on about 5 different dates. We have a couple case studies, so we're going to learn more about the skills that we can teach within our core group, so that we can train other teachers to work with these students as well, not only students with autism, but other related disabilities, and really just kind of just professionally develop in that area as well. So that's upcoming, and we're really excited, and that's starting very soon. Everything is kind of right around the corner. So that's just my brief overall update. Do you have any questions for the special ed department?
Just feedback, the SEPTA open house for high school that was, I mean, well received. There was all kinds of great comments by that.
Yeah, that was great. That was not only one of SEPTA's goals, but one of my personal goals, you know, just as chairperson. I think a lot of families always ask about high school, and it's different at every high school because we have so many choices. So I think, you know, that's great. I'm glad that it was helpful for parents. Thank you.
And hopefully the school saw the great turnout and will be willing to come back. You could hopefully make it an annual thing, because it'll always be a different group of parents, so
Right.
that would be awesome. Yeah, I just read an article on student-centered IEPs, where the kids are involved in their meetings. Do you do that with the older kids here?
We do. We start in 6th grade, and we include, we invite the students. I have the special education teachers talk to the students ahead of time just to kind of say, hey, how are you feeling about this? And that's when we really start honing in on self-advocacy, because, you know, we want the students to know, hey, you're not in this forever. Like, you're going to come and you're going to advocate, and let's talk about what's on your plan, and that you do have a plan, and there is a plan to get off the plan. So yes, definitely, we include students. So, any other questions? Thank you so much for having me.
Kim, thank you so much for coming out. Great updates. And again, especially as ahead of the curve, too, getting ready for next year. Nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
2.2, district/superintendent program report.
Sure. Just a few updates, actually. Some with the building level, which I'll leave for Dr. Yotis, but just some pieces that kind of affect us as a district. Our construction, I know we update frequently, but it is officially done. Our state aid paperwork has been submitted, so we're all set in that angle. There is some work occurring over vacation, which is good. Just some additional cubbies being put in both pre-K classrooms, just that we have a max of, actually we'll have 18 in both rooms. Right now we have 16, but there'll be 2 added in each room. And also we're putting up our vinyl curtain, which will protect the velvet curtain from damage from when sports teams are playing and practicing. So that'll be occurring over the vacation. The 26th and 27th, or the 27th, 28th, when school, the building is open, those students won't be here. And at that point, the work is officially done. And as I said, everything is closed out project-wise, financially. All contracts have been paid, so we're in great shape. So that's a feat well done. And our plaque will be arriving tomorrow that will be mounting to the wall that will feature your names and, of course, the work of our 4 primes. So again, nicely done. We made it through it, so it's been wonderful. Also in the mail, we did receive that we are in good standing. As you know, every student succeeds is replaced No Child Left Behind. So based on that formula, it's kind of similar to the NCLB formula in terms of it looks at attendance, looks at overall performance in subgroups, your special ed population, those in poverty, things like that. So overall, Wyandotte is rated as a school in good standing, which again is a very nice achievement because there's many schools in our area, 1 or 2 buildings perhaps even within a district that might not be in good standing and have to, of course, do those procedural pieces of getting back in the good graces of state ed. So we did receive it. We are in good standing. So our progress, our continued progress has obviously been noted, so that's a good thing. Our pre-K, you might notice on our website, speaking of budget, we'll start that discussion soon just as annual reviews come up. There is a survey on our website, kind of an informal survey that kind of gains interest of those families that would be interested in the 1920 school year of attending the pre-K program. Right now, as of last look, we were at about 19 survey participants. Now, again, it's just an informal survey kind of saying, would you have a child that would be eligible, and again, would be 5 by December 1st of 2019, that might be interested in the program for next year. This will be kind of helpful, of course, as we get into budget planning, because as you know, we have 1 section running right now. There are 2 rooms, but of course, an additional room would be an additional cost. So this will help inform our decision when we kind of get a better idea of finances, but also, you know, what population are we looking at? As you know, this year, though we did start later, we do still have, you know, some spaces. We have 1 space left in that class. So again, we can kind of see whether our projections or what we're expecting match kind of what we budget for. So that's out there. Of course, we're encouraging any families that come in that might have children that fit that demographic, or those that know of anyone, to please pass that survey along so that, again, that will help inform our decision. Other pieces, too, besides, I'll kind of circle back to a big piece you'll see that is the Whiteview development. One of the pieces that we are planning, actually just as of this evening, is for our middle school, we are working on having a vaping kind of awareness program that will come in for our middle school students. You might be aware vaping has become kind of a very big misnomer in society, the idea that it's not really smoking and it's not as harmful or not harmful at all, because it is affecting middle school students and including our own students. We will be featuring that program. The county Department of Health has been fantastic. They're offering to do 6 classes, 1 class per grade level of 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. So we'll be scheduling that for once the students return from vacations. That's something that we're doing. You might have seen some things on our social media of other schools that are doing it at the high school level. We'll be bringing that to our middle school level and doing that for our students, then hopefully for our families as well down the road. So that is a piece we're excited about from the program level. And last but not least, on the district level, you'll see the Whiteview development update, which actually should be kind of a global introduction in general. As you might be aware, if you're a town resident or kind of seen, there is a proposed 184 condo unit being proposed for the development of the Whiteview land off of Whiteview Road. and that's been put forth to the planning board for a few discussions. It's been a non-comment period, but just kind of a discussion by a developer. And basically, it's looking to take that 55-acre development or plot of land and basically put 184 2 to 3 bedroom condo units that would be for sale, ranging in price from $250,000 to $300,000. They would be, of course, there'd be HOA fees. The person would own the property. It'd be 2-car garage, no basement, 2 to 3 bedroom pieces, with the high end being $300,000. It's been put forth a initial design, and of course, at that point, it's really not for public comment. It is just kind of more the planning board taking into things, everything from traffic to road size, EMS services, things like that. From a school level, we've been back and forth and actually using our council to kind of engage at least in the discussion. As you know, in the end, it does come down to the planning board does make the decision, but they've been very, very positive at kind of asking our feedback proactively. What do you think? Andy and I have been at both meetings where it's come up, but they've been very great at reaching out to us to kind of see our opinion and kind of get that. As you can imagine, there's many different pieces of math that can be used. If you use one formula, actually 2 sets of formulas that come from the Capital District Regional Planning Commission, it could project, using that formula alone as a mathematical piece, it could project up to 86 students, K-12, that would theoretically add. But then there's also math that you'll see that comes out. Actually, there's a study I have here that I'll pass along to you. It's on the North Greenbush Common School District Little Red website, that it kind of more fits the idea that condos typically do not draw families with children, and that it might, and it uses local data, meaning the development behind juniors, things like that, Hampton Place, the pastures, and it kind of looks at more live data of what does a typical condo development take in. So despite the Planning Commission's numbers, and as you can imagine, they are markedly different. The numbers that are coming out of this kind of anecdotal data are showing lower, meaning for every maybe 70 units, there's 3 students, school-age students. But of course, our concern that we're expressing as a district is if the math is closer to, again, that math is predicted by the Regional Planning Commission, or even more, 184 units is a lot, obviously the district would be in a different position. We'd have to really reconsider what we're doing, because that is, in addition to a school that has been increasing enrollment for the past 3-4 years, we've been up 20% in the past 4 years. So it is something that we've at least expressed our concern, meaning obviously, the math, and I'll pass this up to the board and any public member, the math that was done by a study by the North Greenbush School District does not alarm us. But then again, the developer can't promise anything either. Again, we won't know what that will look like. It is a 5-phase or a 3-phase development that would be done by 2023. And again, so it kind of depends on what formula you'd like to prescribe to. The Regional Planning Commission, that's one formula, but of course this study that was done by John Yagelski is indicating that whatever reason, condos in the Capital District are just not drawing school-age children. Then the developer's leaning towards that side, but to the credit of the planning board, they do recognize that that's not always the case. And what would a district do if 184 units, even if a quarter of them had students, or maybe half of them did? What would a district do? So they've been reaching out. Our council's been kind of working with kind of their council. They will be drafting a statement the board will have a chance to review that kind of captures, the idea that while the district can't necessarily control the planning board's decision, that they want to at least express concern for, if growth were massive, that the district would have to obviously some considerations that would be financially impacting. Everything from whether we could accept Little Red students for tuition to what we do with our current students. But again, as you can imagine, of course, I'll throw it out to Andy, and of course anyone on the board would like to discuss. The difficult part is the Regional Planning Commission math, as I gave you that one number, and that's 86 students K-12, so it probably breaks down to 54 students K-8. Doesn't match up at all with the math that's or the live math being produced by, for example, Hampton Place. Hampton Place is in the North Greenbush School District. I think it's calculated that there's 3 students there, and there's 100-something units. So it's kind of finding that middle ground of what's really what can we truly project this would add if this does get approved as is. And again, it is still in the preliminary stages. They have been sent back to the drawing board to reconfigure, again, things like streets, location of fire services, things like that, parking. So I'm not sure where they stand in terms of their next draft, what that will look like, whether that will still have 184 units or less, or what the layout will be. But of course, that was kind of where we left off last time. The next meeting is January 7th, which of course Andy and I and any board member that would like to attend will be in attendance, and that will be a public comment period, which will again allow also the general public to comment on things that probably are not just related to the schools, such as again traffic flow, what that would mean for the current land, what that would mean for neighbors, things like that. I'll open up to the board, of course, anyone that has any.
The only thing I would correct, John, I think the next meeting is their next presentation. So if that's approved by the planning board, then it would be open to public discussion. So I think we're at least 2 more meetings. We're going to have to commit to this. But I think you nailed everything right on the head. I was very optimistic to hear that the planning board was very concerned about growth for our district, and they weren't going to move ahead without hearing from us and getting an official position from us. So
that's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting when it goes out to public comment. It's just from, like I said, on a local Facebook page, the comments I was reading, people that live in that area are not happy about it. just from the little bit that was there. So once the full information, the real information gets out, it'll be very interesting to see comments and what happens. But I am glad that they are thinking about us.
And just a caveat to point out, too, I'm glad you mentioned that, too, as well, is even if this were to be approved next meeting, it still doesn't preclude the developer still has to do what's called a seeker study. And a seeker study basically has to take into account the impact of everything from the environmental impact to the school district impact, and it's not just based on anecdotal data, it's based on a study. So, of course, it's not just over there. The seeker study would require, hard-driven data. It could require actually the developer listing the services of someone like a John Yagelski to say, what can we expect on that and what can we actually expect for student growth, traffic growth, those kind of pieces. So it doesn't exempt them from that. They still would have to proceed with the seeker study if approved. But this is just kind of their initial conversations. This is also, just for the general public, this is on the North Greenbush Commons District website. This is a public document that was just released actually this week, but it just kind of features, what kind of interesting pieces of the villages at North Greenbush, Tech Valley Residential Community, Blooming Grove Terrace, kind of what is residing there right now. This was done by hand-drawn data. This also projects the tax increases they could expect to receive, but again, our tax levy is different than theirs. So you'll see the final sheet looks at the potential impact, but that would be for the Little Red District. But just some interesting data as to what these developments locally have been providing.
Okay, thank you. 2.3, principal's report.
I'd like to just really give a shout out to the faculty and staff, and looking at my calendar as I get ready for the board report, I look back, okay, what's taken place? It feels like a whirlwind goes on within a month, and I looked and I said, okay, Thanksgiving break and really just a few short weeks, and my computer, the keyboard, the screen with the calendar is just filled with meetings and PLC meetings. And I wanted to just give a shout out. This year we had implemented professional learning communities in our building, and every week the teachers commit to working with each other, either a grade level meeting where they're talking about curriculum at the grade level, or they'll have PLCs where K-8 is meeting all the teachers that teach science or the social studies teams. And I join these meetings, and I just am so proud of the work that they're doing. And middle school will meet together on an issue, on students, and the staff is just working so well, so collaboratively together, sharing ideas, and really that was our initiative, that they're going to work together to improve instruction through collaboration. And it's just been amazing. And so, I'm looking at all these meetings, and just what a commitment that they have working together. And sometimes last week there was a release day for teachers teaching social studies, because we do that at each grade level, and 3-5 social studies teachers met for the day. And they're mapping out their curriculum because they never really sat and spent time looking at, well, if you're not teaching that until 5th grade and I hit it in 3rd, what should we be doing in 4th? And really just having those conversations to make sure that our curriculum, our materials, and instruction are just seamless. And just the work that's been done. And so I'm very proud of that. So, again, I look up and I see all these meetings and I think, wow, in a few short weeks, there have been so many PLCs that are so productive. And even Kim Perzelvet's met with a special area PLC today to talk about some of the students who are struggling in special areas because they don't often have the tools that the classroom teachers have in those transitions. So thank you, Kim, for doing that. So it can be any curriculum, it can be behavior, socialization, anything. But the teams are meeting, and it's wonderful. Also, another shout out that the observation APPR process that is just grueling, I know, for the faculty, and they've done an amazing job. And Dr. Rear and I are just finishing up seeing, there's 33 teachers, and the amount of time that they spend preparing for a lesson, meeting with, I meet with them for an hour before the lesson's actually taking place that week to talk about the planning and everything and how thoughtful they are, putting the lesson together, Then we go into the classroom, observe for the hour. The next day, it's a post-observation talking about instructional practices and how that all played out and what they could do to improve that. Then, there's a fourth piece, it's the scoring piece. So, a teacher spends just 4 hours one-on-one for the week with me at the observation, let alone how much time they spend preparing for it. So I'm sure they're all thrilled that that is done, and now we can do things a little more informally with a little less sweat. But that was a huge process, and Dr. Reardon has finished his observations, and I'm about done with mine. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of meeting. But I think the outcome has been great. We've had lots of great conversations about teaching, learning, our instruction, and how we could set goals to move forward. So that's really so much of what we've been doing. We've had a bee assembly for the kids, and that was wonderful. We were focusing on being kind, and you'll see out in the hallway there's kindness chains. Every student was committed to doing above and beyond acts of kindness, and tomorrow we're coming together to see if we can make that chain go all around the building when we connect all the grade levels together. So that'll be exciting. So we're excited. That's it for me.
Great, thank you. Any questions, any follow-up?
I think that was spot on.
Are you going to tweet out the status? I'm kind of interested to see
Me
if
too.
Shane makes it around.
To see how many.
It might be a live video too.
All right.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot.
Facebook Live?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And I can't speak to the older concert, but the K-3 concert
Oh, the concerts,
yes.
yes.
was
Concerts were
excellent.
great.
Kids
Yeah.
did a great job.
Okay, 2.4, PTA, I see PTA. Is there a
Okay.
PTA president here?
Yes, Nicole Herbanik, I'm the co-president of the Lionsville PTA. I provided some communication report. I just wanted to touch on a few of the highlighted items. The rest of it is for your knowledge and reference should you need it. Our last fundraiser of this time is wrapping up the apparel sale. So the apparel, if you did order before the date for pickup was December 5th, is available to pick up right outside of the main office. And then tomorrow is the last day to order if you're interested in any of the apparel order. I wanted to talk about one of our current supported events, which was the turkey shoot that happened on November 19th. And I really wanted to acknowledge Jenny Brown and Jamie Droscher, who are two kindergarten moms who came to our first PTA meeting and really jumped in, hit the ground running, and made this event such a positive and successful free event for this year. I noted here their time, effort, hard work, planning, organization, and execution. They did an amazing job, and we appreciate your skills. I received a lot of positive feedback about that event. I know it took a lot of time. I know Dr. Yotis did a ton of work for it, Dr. Reardon as well, which kind of brings me to my last points, which are we are continuing to, our goal to offer free events as we continue this year. So in September, we had that great carnival. In October, we had a health fair, and we aided the health fair. I shouldn't say we had a health fair. But we also hosted a movie night, a free family movie night. And in November, we had the turkey shoot event. So one of the things I want to point out is that these volunteers this year, people are really stepping up and jumping in and making an impact. And I was struggling with this transition kind of going into this year because having been in the district now for a few years with my son, now in second grade, I have been around and been participating, but was getting a little nervous about making these transitions to these bigger events that were no cost to families to attend because it takes a village to put one together, and it's a lot of work. But so I wanted to notice down here, I wanted to wish everybody on the board a joyous holiday season. Also thank you all for your support as we made this transition to align with the goals, because it was important to us to have your support with that. But Dr. Yotis and Dr. Reardon, everything that we've proposed, we've worked together. You guys are our biggest touchstones, and you spend so much time. And I don't know how you do it, you're here all the time. But these events and your participation and organization and help, I do none of it. I answer emails. You guys are the people that are out there doing it all. So I don't know how we would do that without you. And then our volunteers and our chair people, they have helped to make it all possible this year. And together, I want to keep that positive flow going, that we're here to provide positive contributions to the children of our community. So we're working towards that. the fundraisers are all funneling into those, even the free events, to attend are free. They're not always free to host. So we'll hopefully do our annual review at the end of this year, see what worked, see what didn't work. But I'm really proud and very impressed and really inspired by the stepping up of people this year and the volunteers that have made this all possible. So, and the teachers. You guys have been involved too. It's been amazing. So I really appreciate it so far. We couldn't do it without everybody. So, any questions?
I just want to give a shout out to whoever organized the holiday shop.
Yes, Kristen Abbas.
They had some great stuff. I couldn't believe the things the boys came home for each other, but.
Well, yes.
Yes, they connived things on that, but, I mean, great. I remember when my kids were here, and we always did it, I chaired it a few years, but it would always be stuff that we would order from a company. And some of it was okay. And I mean, Matt, you remember some of the things they used to have in the Santa shop during those days, and it was like, but this is like quality stuff that.
And it's again, it's the time. I mean, ordering from a company, we looked into that because it's quicker.
Yeah.
But they go out on
Stuff.
major shopping trips, multiple major shopping trips. And one of the things I was really excited about this year is we used Five Below in North Greenbush. So trying to keep our money in the
Local,
community and
exactly.
getting involved. They gave us a discount when we went shopping. So we've really made an effort this year to reach out in the community and let people know that we're willing, we want to spend the money in Rensselaer County and we want to be involved. And in turn, they're offering us discounts. Kristen took home a little bit to seed next year's shop, but we donated some stuff and everything else got sold. So they do an amazing job.
And how does it work if there is a child that may not have money to shop? Are kids given an opportunity to maybe pick one or two things, or how
Yes.
does that work for those kids?
We cover that.
Okay.
And actually this year we've actually in the past couple of years had a loss for Holiday Shop overall as financially as a PTA. But this year we actually had a small profit considering some donations we made. And we did a couple of returns because we had a couple of things that just didn't go. We returned them, and then what we seeded for the next one. So so we always make it work. We always give the children an opportunity to pick out.
Because that is something you don't look at as a fundraiser, you just look at it as a service. for the
Exactly.
kids.
Yeah, we don't count it as a fundraiser. It's a service. It's a busy one.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
Again, these things take so much effort, and it's all the volunteers. They are just making it all happen. So I will pass it along.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. 3.0, appointments and authorizations. We're going to do all of these as consent agenda unless somebody has an objection. Okay, no objection. 3.1, approve the CSE, CPSE recommendations as attached. 3.2, approve Jacqueline Glaze, Jennifer Kelleher, Brenda Alderman for extracurricular appointment, chaperone for the 2018-19 school year as per the WTA contract. 3.3, approve Kylie Pendergast as a substitute teacher aide, non-certified teacher at $80 per day. 3.4, approve the memorandum of understanding for emergency off-site evacuations between Winesville UFSD and St. Jude the Apostle School and the Abel Park Central School District. 3.5, approve Christine Kodadar for permanent teacher aide position effective December 26, 2018, ending the 6-month probationary period.
Motion. So what you need?
Second.
See that?
Did you move?
Did, yeah.
Yep. Do you want to talk about any of these items?
Oh, sure. Just to clarify, the approval, the 3.4, that was something we actually had done in 2014. We updated just to make sure the language was a little tighter. It just renews a reciprocal agreement between us and St. Jude's and us and Abel Park should they ever need to evacuate to our site or vice versa. Meaning we had to leave the school and we weren't sending home, but we had to just go to another site, like maybe to immediately reunify before we decided the next step. It just kind of maps out the fact of who would be responsible, insurance pieces, things like that. It's just basically, it's an agreement we kind of had as a verbal piece. It's been in place since 2014, but again, those leaders have since left, so we thought it was a good chance to kind of re-update those. And again, it allows for them as well. That way, those sites, any one of those Abel Park schools or St. Jude's, if they need to visit us, that's there. And also, we will be practicing that in March. We'll practice the chance for us to have to relocate to St. Jude's if we had to. How fast we could do that.
So what would be an example, like fire, what would be an example
Sure.
of when we would do that?
Perfect example would be like, for example, if there was a gas leak in the building and it was maybe, let's say, we decided it was maybe in the best interest, well, first and foremost, we had to get out of here. So the key would be how fast can we get out of here, but rather than getting out and dismissing and getting the notification out and worrying that everybody had the right bus, perhaps relocate to St. Jude's, decide it's best to send everybody home, or perhaps relocate, kind of, make sure we have attendance, we're all set, and then we're able to return back to campus. So it'd be kind of like, almost like we have to leave the campus right away. It could also be in a rare situation if there was an emergency where we felt, again, God forbid if there was an emergency here where we had to get out of the building and it was safe for us to leave and then kind of really gather our thoughts inside the next step, that's where we kind of use those pieces. So the goal of the drill also is to see how fast we can all get off campus, everyone, not just students, but faculty, custodians, how fast could you empty the building and get to a safe spot and kind of, ensure you had attendance, medications, things like that. And so we'll be coordinating that, but that is, we'll do that probably in March. And if you'd like a copy, Mrs. Sillis does have it. It just has some tighter legal language that just holds.
Is there a communication plan with that? Just, I know some other school districts have had issues with that, right? When they have had to go on through that, is the communication out? Or should we just use our texting and?
Yes, and we actually have, there's a part of our emergency response plan. It's kind of a flow chart for who would take command, who would be in charge of communications. It almost kind of maps out every piece. And of course, we'd use every system in that case, the notification system, Facebook, the texting feature, things like that. Media as well, if we want to make sure something was getting out there. But we have actually a full, kind of a flow chart of if this happens, who's in charge, this is what happens, they delegate X, Y, and Z. Pretty sophisticated.
Any other questions?
Mrs. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Hirakawa?
Yes.
Mr. Lamasi?
Yes.
Mr. Strang?
Yes.
Okay, 4.0, informational. Our next regular Board of Ed meeting will be January 17th, 2019 at 7 p.m. And 4.2, opportunity for the public to be heard. Has anybody signed up?
Nobody signed up.
No? Anybody want to speak to us? No? Okay. Any motion? We don't need executive session, I don't think.
I'm good.
No? Okay. Adjournment. Somebody make a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those against?